Hi, I'm Roger, a regular guy with a hotline to spirit. Now I want to talk to you about something I think is so important, and that is, how do we know who will show up in a mediumship session? See you in a bit. So how do we choose, how do we know who will come in for a mediumship session? How do we dictate that? Well, we don't. We can't, it's like one ringy dingy, two ringy dingy, we're calling someone up, please come in, are you there? At least with me and in my work, it doesn't happen that way whatsoever. So the answer to the question is, who dictates who comes in? Well, I don't. Truth be told, you do. Your desire to speak with someone as you're thinking about them very often will bring them to you, whether you're seeing me or whether you're home in your own home. They're with you, even before you finishing the thought, because what is a thought is a vibration, and the vibration is a signal, very much like a phone call, and it brings them in to that interaction with you. So in a mediumship session, I can only share with the person there, with you, that who comes in for them. And that the reason why they come in is probably the biggest, most important thing. And that is, they come in always to help you move forward in your life at that moment in time, perfectly under and through grace, to support you. And if there's energy, well, wait a minute, to support you. Very important. We all could use support. And if there's energy tied up with them in life, they come in to make that known for you to work on, to release, from me, to give me instruction for you to help you clear that and to move on. And not because it was bad, but because there was so much learning, but there's still energy tied up in it, and you need to release that. It needs to be released. It needs to be let go of. Okay, so who dictates who comes in, who will show up? We don't know. You don't know, I don't know, but who does show up, and this is the key part, will be perfect for you at that moment in time in your evolution, soul evolution. I was interviewed by a show a couple of years back in New Jersey, a TV show, and they came to my office here. And while they were setting up, and before even the host got there, the whole crew showed up, the artistic director, and as I'm sitting in a chair and everything is going on around me, the artistic director, this guy, his father came in. And I wasn't thinking of giving a reading or anything. Matter of fact, the interview was not for me as a medium, but for me as a sound healer. But I'm sitting there, minding my own business. And his father comes in. And he keeps coming in. So that, it's kind of like, hello. So I know I'm supposed to share something. And I said to him, other than sound healing, I'm a medium, and there's a father presence for you. And he said, what'd you say? I didn't know how it was going to go. I said, there's a father presence for you, and he's on a rowboat fishing, because I could see it. For me, it comes in very often as an image, like a little movie clip. And with that, the whole room just stopped, and he had goosebumps all over, and the camera guy was like, I have goosebumps too, and I'm just sitting there, being there for him, because that's my privilege to do, and be there for somebody else while they receive very important information. And the information he was receiving that came in for him quite clearly, and I shared it with him, was that his father is still present and loving him. And he started to cry. Just thinking about it, it's hard. Very often it's very difficult for me not to fill up and cry when I'm with a client. So he received that information. And then the host came and we did the segment on sound healing, which is a good segment. But we don't choose. I don't pick and choose who's going to come in. He didn't. He certainly wasn't thinking of his father. I'm thinking of a client of mine wonderful person, they will come in, and that person's mother will always, always, always come in. Every single time. And they want nothing to do with their mother. Because in life, it did not go well, to say the least. And I get to see the exchanges, I get to feel the exchanges in life, but I'm also at the same time experiencing that soul, that person's mother, in the present, in spirit, loving them. And for many times, that person would come in, that client, and would not want to hear it, and would say a couple of colorful words regarding it. One day, they call me up and they make an appointment. Well, they made an appointment, and they wanted to speak to their mother. And they came in wanting to really let their mother have it. And the mother was present, and they said, "Is she here?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." And they just basically ripped into their mother about all this fury and anger came up to be released. And when they were done, I said, "Would you like to hear your mother's response?" And they said, "I didn't know she was going to respond." I said, "Oh yeah." And that person said, "Well, what does she have to say?" Like, bring it. And what came in was a complete validation of what my client had said, and then some, and added to it that I knew nothing about, but she did, because she lived it. And the mother was just loving her and honoring everything she felt, and expressed to her why she was living from that, and what she grew up in, her mother, and how her mother grew up through the Holocaust, and so much pain, and was so sorry because of the pain she was holding, that she was not able to receive love and love such a beautiful child as my client. And it really helped when my client was ready on that day, and they were, to receive that information. And the mother just kept coming in every time until they were ready to have it out, to clear the air, just like we would in life, right? What are the rules in the sandbox? You tell your truth, right? "I can't believe you did that to me." "Well, I didn't do that to you. I did this." "Oh, I thought you threw sand at me." "No." And then you get on with playing and sharing the preciousness of life with each other. We never know what is vitally important to us from our personality way of thinking, or at a lower vibration, or how do I put this? What we think is important very often is not so important. There's something more important in play at a higher level of vibration, of thought. And loved ones come in to help us get there and to work through that, to get to our soul expression, to get to our joy, to get to loving and being loved, and letting go everything else. I had a guy bring his mother in, and she didn't speak much English at all, Italian or Croatian, and her husband had passed, and they scheduled a full hour, and he came in right away. That's good, and he was translating, and she wanted to know if he was okay, if he was at peace, and he said yes. He nodded, and he stood like this, but no one was talking. And I said, "He's here, your father's here, but he doesn't talk." He says, "That's my father." And that's rare, because when someone leaves the earth plane, very often in spirit, they have a lot to say. I mean, they're not a chatterbox, they're not talking all over the place, but what they say is very economical and very important. But he just wanted to let her know that he was in fact okay. And then I said, "Anything else?" And she kept asking the same question, and we had 40 minutes to go. So then I realized the session was really more about letting her know and just being there for her, as we all were, in physical form, myself, her son, and her husband that was now in spirit. Our loved ones were always with us, comforting us, being there with us, even when we feel the most alone. Like, I am so alone and broken. No, we're never alone. And what will bring in an expression of source in a session, whether it be our loved ones in terms of mediumship or even channeling, is that person's need at that point in time. And that will always, always trump, dictate who and what will come in. And I'll leave you with this example. I used to give this event called Medium High. I've mentioned it a couple of times in videos. And the room would be filled with people, I don't know, about 20 to 30 people in my office for me to give a reading. And I remember this one man who wanted to hear from his father. I didn't know that. They expressed this to me that evening right after the session. And so I'm going around the room, and all of a sudden what came in for him was the Archangel Gabriel. So again, a perfect example of we don't dictate who comes in. And Gabriel had some questions, and sometimes spirit could be a loved one or an expression of source, a divine expression. We're all divine. An angel will take the long way to help the person, the soul, get to the same plane or the same level of thinking. So Gabriel said, "You're exercising, right?" And they said, "Oh yeah, I go to the gym," and some other questions, and he answered them. He says, "Yes, and I do cardio." And with that, Gabriel said, "When do you do cardio?" And he said, "I do it at somewhere between midnight," get this, between midnight and 1:15 in the morning. "Uh-oh," I said. He says, "I run around the reservoir." I said, "Where?" "In the upper west side, or in Central Park." I said, "You run around the reservoir at 12 midnight to 1 o'clock?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." And so Gabriel asked him, he said, "Gabriel, I was just passing, I'm just passing along, like the cafeteria man with the hairnet, I'm just passing it." I said, "Is it possible for you to go running at any other time?" He says, "Yes." I said, and because that was the question Gabriel asked. Gabriel asked, "Can you do it early in the morning?" "Yes." "Does that work for you?" Gabriel said. And the man said, "Absolutely." "Can you just do that for the next, for a little while and see if you prefer that?" And he says, "Okay." He says, and Gabriel left it at that, and that was it. And Gabriel also said, "Keep doing exercise." Very good. After the session, again, the man expressed to me that he wanted to hear from his father, or his mother, one of his parents, and didn't understand. He was confused. Interesting enough, he reached out to me the following week, and he says, "I want you to know something about that reading." I said, "Okay." Didn't know what he was going to say. And he said, "Apparently, where I used to run," and he emphasized used to, "for the last 2 weeks, there have been stabbings and muggings between that hour at night in that location. So I wanted to thank you. Thank you so much for that reading, because that could have been me. And it made me really rethink how I was doing things, and helped me realize that I was watched over, that I was loved." So what comes in is what's needed. We don't know what will show up, but what will show up. We don't know who will show up, but what will show up is exactly what's needed at that time, perfectly under and through grace. That's the point of this video. If you like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and ring the bell so you know next time I release a video. Thank you so much for being here with me. I so enjoy talking about spirit and mediumship, about life, physically and non-physically, because it's all one. Much love to you, much peace. Go out and create a wonderful incredible reality for yourself.